bit more standard for these teams as we roll out of the gates here. On Shrine, on Nepal, our control map in this 4.
So they open goats.
Between these two teams. Shui and Yakpunk staring each other down as we wait for the point to unlock here.
Envy taking an interesting flanking position, probably just trying to pressure Bebe there on the side. They get a nice dash into some.
IDK gets a boop.
And Neko, of course, definitely one of the top players on Toronto Defiant. Good Zenyatta pickup, of course, came over from Boston Uprising, who has to put that Orb of Harmony on a snake there. To stay alive, but the position's good. Unfortunately, though, Ivy does go down. Rhea with the finishing blow there, and that's going to make it easy.
So I think because Ivy dies, how does he die? Oh, he gets booped. IDK is so good with the boops here.
I didn't see Ivy's positioning. Spark carving him off from the rest of the team, and they're going to be sitting pretty right now. Look at Ivy's ult charge, 55%. Godsby has a full Graviton surge already, so it's going to be a huge ult differential in favor of the Spark.
All live because the healing output isn't quite as rapid, right, with this support combo, so sometimes you just lose one, you know?
Yeah, I saw Rhea standing there just to get the rockets. He's trying to charge that self-destruct since he's so close right now. Gets a little bit of free charge on the entrance of the Defiant through the choke.
So they're just looking for Grav here. IDK tries to go for boop. They notice him. And they're still engaged though. Nice grab. And that's alright boop.
Once again, he's the first involved in this fight, and the shatter coming out from Kushui afterwards.
I don't know if you want to.
You can clearly see like how teams are playing around the Lucius now, and also see when the enemy Lucius is coming in and react to it.
Rhea 70% push forward, shatter, and then you get the Graviton straight into the self-destruct. That was a beautiful sequence for the Spark.
Toronto coming back into this with
They're trying to find a Grav.
Unfortunately for them, Ivy has died and hasn't really got much charge here. Now he's got the damage on that Zarya. So now
They got the Grav. Now they engage, go from behind, try to pin, and go for a bomb here. And because bomb was used, they can beat.
And as Yakpunk falls, it looks like maybe Spark can hold this, but no, Toronto turning it right back around again. And even though Kushui gets one at the end.
There's another grab though from Godspeed though. That's the scary thing right here.
I think IDK is the MVP here so far. Kushui is... I don't know how you pronounce it. Oh yeah, title. You're right. Thank you. Thank you, Duo. You're the man.
It really looked like they were going to be able to flip it, but no. Spark, talk about resilience. They're going to grab this point.
But yet, they're doing
they're gonna get it. I mean,
really good.
As well as a comp actually ripped through a control. All right. So they're scouting right now with the Sombra. They're going to see the Rhyme 3-3, and then they're going to go back and switch to it. So just a chance there to see what the Defiant were going to run. And if they...
Kushui. 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 Okay.
Play the Sombra in the far. They decide the answer is no. Again.
I'm not sure if I pronounce it well, but I really try.
Before the point unlocks.
And they're going to run in on the low ground too. That's going to allow them to sit on the point as it unlocks and force the Defiant to come to them. So I kind of like this start by Spark. And a taking point, you know? Yo, Yakpunk diving in to get really aggressive. Ooh, Toronto.
Buzzy that.
Just all over Spark and Bezzy. Can't stay alive. There goes Godsby as well. So I think Spark. Just all over Spark and Bezzy. Can't stay alive. There goes Godsby as well. So I think Spark just kind of got caught off guard there.
They definitely did, but Defiant had a long time to set up a pincer attack on the high ground. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, Sparks, why not?
Spark just ran in, and because the Toronto Defiant can move around on the top of the roof of the point, they get an advantage. So Spark do pay for the time that they...
I want to see what happened here.
Force the Defiant to come to them, so I kind of like this start by Spark. And a taking point, you know? Yo, Yakpunk diving in to get really aggressive.
Oh, that's a hard engage. Bubble goes on to IDK instead of Buzzy.
All over Spark and Bezzy. Can't stay alive. There goes Godsby as well. So
the Toronto Defiant pay for the time.
Goes far. Fine so far, but they are going to have a little bit of an advantage here.
Yeah, they're going to try and push the high ground.
Oof. So low. If they swung once more, he'd be dead. The bubbles are late.
Oh, super low. Would have died with...
Did he have bubble on cooldown? No, I didn't.
Yeah, they're going to try and push the high ground.
Nah, Godsby is just late on the bubbles.
Taking advantage of Kushui going off the edge to try to live here. They got the shadow, that got them the kill onto Godsby, and Toronto looking much better here on round number 2. Gotta keep Yakpunk alive. They can't do it though. But it's
You need some milk. I don't drink milk.
To stay in control.
Yeah, Yakpung right there, he saw that the Zarya bubble went on to Gushui as well when he got low, so that means there's not really a lot of defensive options for the Shadow. 50% already built up to the Defiant, who have bounced back.
And combo, right? They've got the Graviton Surge self-destruct combo online.
IDK also very far away from a sound barrier right now.
Yeah, very true. Ivy doing what he can damage-wise. It's going to be rallies coming in. Ivy, walk forward. Thought he was going to maybe
Some water? Yeah, water maybe, yeah.
grab here. They're going to go to the trance. There's a nice counter shatter coming out from Gushui. As everyone was in the grab on his team, that's going to give him another fighting chance to turn this one around.
I definitely need water.
Gets his shield up in time, but he's still low health. And there goes Yakpung and Stellar. So when the dust clears, as it begins to settle, Spark taking the lead in this fight, and it looks like they're going to be able to flip the point. 90% though. And he throws them back out. The grab on his team, that's going to give him another fighting chance to turn this one away. As everyone was in the grab on his team, that's going to give him another fighting chance to turn this one around. And he throws them back out. Up as he trans, there's a nice counter shatter coming out from Gushui.
This is a good shatter because they couldn't use the bomb there.
Was in the grab on his team. That's going to give him another fighting chance to turn this one around. And he throws them back out. Up as he barely lives, gets his shield.
And that's a nice block.
And there goes Yakpung and Stellar. So when the dust clears, as it begins to settle, Spark taking the lead in this fight, and it looks like they're going to be able to flip the point. 90.
Godspeed and IDK to build up their ultimates, and they should be able to hold this for quite some time as Toronto truly depleted after that last fight.
Yeah, I mean, even Bebe halfway through to his next Transcendence, that puts him ahead of Neko with the Zenyatta ultimate economy there. Good position for Spark. Godspeed just decides to go for the grab. Why not? Me there. Position for Spark.
That's a good grab, but you can't engage on it.
Why not? Gushui down though. They're gonna need to win this fast.
They need to win every fight after the cap there. They need to win every fight because if they lose one fight, it's the last fight.
But unfortunately for them, Defiant has that sound barrier. They can turn this one around. Gushui, you know, he nearly got blown up a couple fights ago, and this time around Toronto is ready.
So let's go back here. Once Gushui gets booped here, they should all fall back to point and basically go, like they can't stay on high ground. Because, well, they could, but they need to get a grab early. Let's see. You can't swing. Can't swing. He tries to shatter. I think that's the mistake. Gushui tries to shatter instead of just playing safe.
Why not? Gushui down though. They're gonna need 100 to 36. But barely got it. That's eventually what got him the final flip in the end. Neko has still not changed his spray. Still using the Boston one. I don't think there's anything accidental about this, guys. Yakpung going in to battle for the Winston. Oh!
Outplayed.
He used his jump
Outplayed.
Really nice move. Oh, he gets one on Roki as well. Wow.
I mean, they're just resetting. Like, what can you do?
What a great heads-up play by IDK, though. You know a lot of Winstons are going to jump over there. Yep.
They know Yakpung's tendencies. They're able to really adjust to it there. But Yakpung blind jumps in.
Yep.
Roki late to the party.
Yep.
It's not good for a DJ to be late to the party, though.
No, it's not. The party, some say, cannot start until the DJ is there. I say so.
He's trying to find boops. IDK is trying so hard for the boops. And at the same time, someone is capping on point. I can't see who. Oh, it's Yakpung. Or Envy, maybe. Envy, actually. Yeah.
Alright, so it's going to be Defiant. Just say
so while Envy is on point, let's see here.
It's not good.
I think there's a bad setup by Spark here. Rhea should be further up. They need to hard engage once Envy is on point. That's the only window. Otherwise they gotta fall back. And that point be kept.
For a DJ to be late to the party, though.
No, it's not the party. Some say cannot start until the DJ is there. I say so.
They're all on different targets here. Ivy saves... IDK saves Ivy. Yakpung doesn't die. They don't have enough damage.
Alright, so it's going to be Defiant just muscling their way into the point and flipping it back for themselves.
Yeah, Spark up. Be careful about ID's Graviton Surge. Godspeed still working his way up to his own. The sound barrier is going to be there alongside the Transcendence for the Spark, so plenty of defensive options. They're giving up a lot of percent on this point while they try and charge with the...
And will it be worth it? We'll find out. Ivy fully charged himself. He goes in with the grass. Will he get anything with the combo?
Let's see, they get a grab going onto Gushui once he jumps in there.
Sound barrier down in time for Sparks. They've got a chance.
Forces trans, and because of bomb, they use beat as well.
Ivy fully charged himself. He goes in with the...
You see, Bebe uses trans, Envy then uses bomb. IDK needs to use beat.
With the combo, maybe sound barrier down in time for Sparks. They've got a chance to push back on this one. They're going to grab themselves, and that's going to let them get a lot of time in terms of just flipping.
I think Toronto are playing extremely well
Move on to Envy. When you see that
after the first round.
Defiant maintaining control on the point for the moment anyway. Yakbang getting low, but he still has that primal rage. Can't really get out of there.
Well, not extremely well actually. They are not playing extremely well. They just handle ults really well.
Mega charged.
Their positioning, engages, etc. could be a lot better.
Not exactly going to live very long. They get a D back onto Rhea though. Godspeed going to come and finish off the back on the other side.
They may not.
They haven't.
They're still trying to keep it. Hangzhou Spark has not been able to take it away. They're so close, and now they finally will flip it, I think.
This is rough. They had to flip it earlier. So, they can lose one fight. Because it's 77. They have enough time to respawn and come back.
They gotta bring some trance in these parties. Might be a little bit low. He's gonna grab. No kills out of that one. Ooh. Oh, I thought someone knew.
They tried to go for the boobs.
Not so lucky. Is Yakbang with a bit
No
of
grab.
friends.
Don't.
Manages to get a kill for Toronto Defiant as they charge back onto the point here. Hangzhou Spark
No.
manages to get a kill for Toronto Defiant.
I think Bebe... He shouldn't be rotating like this. This is a free kill.
As they charge back onto the point here, Hangzhou Spark
It's probably default rotation that they just have from practice.
pushed away. They've lost their Zenyatta as well. How long can they hold on to this one? Looking like less and less as Godspeed's down. Whoa, IDK comes in with the double boop though.
I mean,
Not gonna be
if
enough.
he can get out or stay alive, Lucio, Roki has to go back to
So now they can come back.
and the Zarya to the point.
It's a lot of ultimates for Hangzhou.
They have ults.
Yeah, a lot of
Like,
survival
we have stuff to fight with. Here's a mistake though.
It's a lot of ultimates for Hangzhou Spark as well.
Yeah, a lot
Watch. Godspeed, he tries to get energy.
of survival as well.
But then you have Rhea matrixing. And Godspeed being behind their Winston.
Rally,
Of course you're not gonna get energy.
primal rage, ways to delay this point.
Toronto just sending
Beat was not necessary there.
self-destruct is trying to delay Spark from getting started here. Gushui. Oh, we got the knockoff onto Bezzy, or Neko rather. Bezzy gets knocked off by Roki. The battle of the primal rages.
And then Yakpung goes nuts.
People already. Yakbang keeping Toronto in the lead, but here comes Gushui back again. Who nearly got knocked off yet again, but he's gonna be able to stay on this. And I don't know.
Yeah, unfortunately they don't have the HP there.
Now, so it is going to be low. Envy's going to be beat back, so we'll see if they can get through this. There's not a lot of damage right now on the point for Toronto.
First round they get.
So yeah, I think Spark had good positioning on the first round. Second round, they were too slow, and then they just ended up going for Shatter Wall. Like, they do weird things. It feels like they rush, because Kushui ends up dying, and then they still try to win a fight with a grab, and there's simply it's not good for the grab, like the positioning.
Toronto trying to.
Or the engage, I mean.
I do have to agree.
And then yeah, they use
Despite the
use
loss,
ults not that well. Like they get grabbed ult. They get grabbed and then they use trans. Well, they have to use trans on Sanctuary. I think the main issue was positioning and engages. No, not engages, but positioning. For example, Rhea, when he got challenged by Envy in the first fight on Sanctuary. And then Bebe. Yeah.
Gushui is looking better than ever on this team, and we knew what an enormous talent he was individually coming into this one. And before have been largely solved.
Okay, so quick sonic arrow, so they know where a few of the members of the Spark are. They immediately relocate to the low ground. It will be Sombra from NB.
Sure enough.
So no Diva here. We'll see if they can make some plays with it. NB already on the flank. NB trying to deal with this. Ooh, nice check.
Oof. That was close.
There.
Dodge the beam. Oh, he's like one of those spies in like one of those movies.
Spark are giving them way too much space. They need to engage earlier. You see, Buzzy is watching here. Rhea watching there. Gujue is watching outside. Same direction. Bebe. Forward. That's B. Main. I think they're watching out for Envy. But the thing is, if you can't build EMP, if you can't hack, you're gonna lose the fight because you don't have the damage. And even if Envy is hacking, for example, Gujue, you wait with the bubble, and you need to have your Diva shooting everywhere in order to block hack to come out on God's Speed, for example.
Not so agile.
Roki is not one of those spies, not through the lasers.
He's the guy that
Arrested or killed. Long flank now to the upper hallway, so taking the big route towards the back.
They need to hard engage again, right now.
And
They should hard engage here.
looks like they will be rotating to hotel. So there you go, and be on the flank right.
Okay, so Envy was found.
quick. Toronto trying to take point. See, again, Gushue's shield getting really low right now.
They're giving way too much space. I think they're too afraid of engaging. Like, they want to play passive, and I don't think that's correct. You shouldn't play passive here. Envy has EMP now.
So maybe with the EMP, Spark has been scattered enough for Toronto to claim the point. They only need that final tick to get the payload moving.
And what can you do? You can't do anything, right?
They're going to be able to grind it out.
A bit of more generic question. When should Sombra Goats be played? I don't think Sombra Goats should or should not be played. Well, there's more like should not be played, but for example, if you have a really good Sombra player and your Goats is kind of weak, let's say that your Zarya is weak compared to the enemy Zarya. Let's say that your Houston Outlaws versus Titans, for example. You're gonna have a better time on Sombra Goats because you have Dante, who's really good on Sombra, but he's not so good on Zarya that he can beat Xiumisu, for example. Xiumisu is simply better. Now, you should play Sombra Goats in that case because you can try and play around your Sombra, like make your Sombra strong and farm EMPs, like quickly snowball with EMPs. But if you still play passive, if you still play slow, you shouldn't play Sombra Goats because you're gonna get rolled. Can't snowball. It's a more of like a preference. If you are the weaker Goats mirror team.
No, totally accidental. He's totally meant to change that spray. Just purely a slip of the mind. That, you know, he fat fingered those buttons. He's sorry, boss. And I'm sure that was an accident. Happens to everybody, you know.
Right. So next fight getting set up right here on the corner. Excellent place for the Spark to fight. And he is.
So Yakpong is looking to find a payload shatter.
Currently charging up again. Graviton's gonna come.
They're in the grab. That's right. Here comes the self-destruct. Zambear's outfit is.
That's a nice bomb. Even though, you know, the bomb came in the middle of the team, I still think the beat was too early from Roki, so it wouldn't have blocked anything, right? They didn't even need to beat there.
Still 3 ultimates. The IB have to use the grab now for the Spark to have 2 defensive ultimates. Yep. Nice long hold here.
There's the EMP. Trance comes out immediately after, but gets blocked. Okay, so Buzzy and Rhea, they are on the other side of the trance, and because there's no line of sight and also the range, they die. bit too late.
Of course, going to be
So they were too far up.
Transcendence.
As usual, the EMP hits everybody except for the supports. So Bebe able to transcend, does go down right afterwards. IDK still has it. Soundbarrier not going to use it.
They die on cart.
Lose the fight instead.
Exactly what they should do.
Transhealing onto him in top.
You need to make sure that ever happens to me, please. To Overwatch League calculate, you know. I'm the best thing out in the world. Here we go. Rallies on.
So now they try to find a shatter, finds the shatter.
Takes Yakpunk right out of it, maybe with a final blow.
Way too late of a trance. Way too late of a trance. I don't know what Neko was doing. He was probably tunnel visioning.
Right there. Envy still not lurking in the back, but they know that. They're looking for Envy right now.
Yep. It's an Envy hunt. Defiant. Pushing back in again. Envy will have to transfer. Ooh, that's a good aggressive graviton from Spark. Let's see if they get anything with the self-destruct.
Solid. Solid.
Get Yakpunk the shield.
Do that because they had already chunked out E because they don't to the high ground right now. Envy is pushed up the Spark have been great at trying to find him in the back line.
Shatter is blocked. Now, I'm a bit split about this. They engage with Beat. And I think they engage with Beat in order to force out Trance. No. They force out EMP. Because they don't have a Diva Bomb, right? So, on Toronto side. So, you don't need to save the Beat. This is an unfortunate... well, I would say that was a good grab, but they couldn't damage. So EMP comes out after both support ults. I don't think Spark expected the grab. I think they should have held on onto the trance.
So Spark playing themselves a bit. They got aggressive, but they weren't able.
The very least that they wanted had to commit.
This is the wrong move. You're gonna
The first time. That time they backed off a lot better.
Come in again.
Godsby needs this grab right now.
Maybe a little bit on the low side. High ground for Envy. Hitting the hacks from on high Godsby. That's right.
So now they... Okay, Ivy uses grab. They use grab as well. And I think they use it. Spark used the grab onto Toronto here because they don't have any support ults.
Really low, and Ivy finishes him off.
Still died though.
Got that charge, and they weren't able to quite get the healing into Gushue. Now the Transcendence comes out. Bebe keeping his team.
Now they have traded. And IDK is continuously going for the boops here. And same for Woki. EMP comes in though. Nothing you can do.
Have a self-destruct. They can push them off the payload if they want to engage with it.
Go. Wait, needs to find that big shatter. Bronzo Defiant. Trying to go for the stun on it, didn't land it. Backing off for a moment here. It's going to be the Graviton Surge now for...
He's waiting for shield to recharge here a bit. And then also looks for shatter, I mean.
Self-destruct's coming in. Gushue low again. Godsby also...
That's a nice block, but IDK is shattered, unfortunately. IDK gets Yakpunk in the same go-down. Shatter blocked by Stellar. No. Okay, they don't see now. Buzzy goes a bit too far. He ends up dying. That's a clutch trance during EMP. Not enough though. They simply get picked off because they overextend. Like small overextensions.
If they could equalize or even do better, and King's Row is one of those maps that we have
overall has been able to be effective with the EMP. And the rest of the team sort of wise to the pushes too that Hangzhou is attempting to something wacky for you.
Position.
Love it. This is what I was hoping to see from the Spark today.
Quad DPS with the Mercy on the healing Hammond. There's a Sonic Arrow from Bebe trying to set things up here. A little bit of time.
I don't know about quad DPS.
Ready from Gushue.
So
the quad DPS is probably so that they can play spread.
Double Sniper is a very classic strategy here on King's Row attack because of the long sight lines and the crossfire you can set up. But they've actually added to it by having the Pharah and the Soldier 76 here as well.
Right, Soldier puts down a lot of covering fire, can keep himself healed up. Heals some teammates once in a while too.
Picks on a roll with this
There's a lot
review?
of damage coming
How
from
do you mean?
different directions right now, and this
I don't think I've found anything special.
3-3, you know, overall is fairly low healing if the ultimates aren't included. Knockbang a little bit low. Betsy tries to escape here and he can't. Ivy hits him with the right.
This should not happen. First of all, your snipers shouldn't play together like this. This is most likely Spark not having planned out the bylines. Why run a soldier instead of Ash? I think it's for the self-heal. Most likely for the self-heal. Because snipers, they should be able to play super far back and not take damage. Like, unlike here. But it was so far. It's so predictable. Maybe they want to play around statue.
Hits him with the right click, so 1 DPS down now.
Yeah, you can't let that Zarya spark. You gotta make sure you get those eliminations. There you go. NVB returns.
Yeah, generally isn't super quick.
Could also be preference. Soldier instead of Ash.
Rio, though,
With a fire strike?
I was gonna say, Rio must have been chasing him. I think he must have gotten low, trying to finish him off. As he down as well, Ivy gets another kill here, and there's a barrage. All right, two from Godby. It's taken off by.
Godsby almost dies
I
there.
don't know if that's enough for Hangzhou. I don't think it is.
I mean, the problem with this composition is that you can't actually have presence on the point, right? Because you're just trying to zone people out. So the point capture
Gushu should
is
pile drive there.
process much slower than Hangzhou would have wanted.
So you get kills
Now they group up for the EMP.
now MB comes back in with the EMP.
And they hard engage.
Out of
You can't stop it.
So might be too late.
It's engagement, so there's not.
Kind of shots they were looking for earlier.
Now you can do it.
Yeah, and be taken out by the Helix rocket from Rhea too. So things finally starting to fire here for Hangzhou Spark. There's a minefield just zoning out the rest of the members that should be pointing.
Now
Okay, so the cap.
was going to be that EMP for the fight, right? They're going to be coming up on 5-1 here.
Toronto well equipped
They need to surround here.
to get this defense going. Spark sticking
And
with
another thing is, Pharah needs to play rooftops.
it. It's been a
Otherwise, Envy's just gonna hack.
We've seen a successful attack by them from the soldier there. Might be fun. Oh, that grab!
Oof. Roki almost pushes Godsby into the graph.
Rhea taken out, but not because of the Ivy's ultimate. Knockbang down, maybe finds one. Looks like Roki's in a lot of trouble.
They're awfully close to Ivy right there, but they need to get some more eliminations, and they're
Getting the kill slowly but surely.
this is disastrous. Like, they have to switch me, and this is use theirs one by one by one.
How they go goats? It's gonna be awkward to play goats here because you have no ults. You're gonna lose next two fights.
Very difficult for Hangzhou to push through.
Then you lose Goosh, right? Things aren't great, but how can you draw more?
Almost guaranteed.
Charge on the, am I only charge?
So here we go, out the gates again. It's a choice they can make. Yakpung, he wants the drop down. He wants them to drop down.
They see
Oh,
Yakpung.
that's right. He was hoping they would drop down. He could shatter from behind. It ended up working out. Get stunned.
Ooh, almost kills him.
Betsy, the one who
You need to
pulls
reset
first.
here.
Doesn't have the EMP anyway, so it's not
Okay, Envy dies.
some distance with the payload here.
So now they have
60 seconds
one
left.
ult.
Spark are coming up on their first batch of ultimates. Defiant have really only used EMP and
Yeah, this is two fights already lost, you know,
They said they want to play.
because of ult economy.
It's looking good. Very safe, very measured. Missing ground. Counter grab comes in.
That's a good counter grab. Now, the thing is, why would you trans this? If you're gonna counter grab, why would you? See you, Anto. I have no idea why they counter, why they trans here, because you need the trans after.
And anything? Nope. All right, transcendences.
Phone's up and now you can trans.
Come out. There's a rally. There's a
Instead, you have no trans. You get the impede, get shattered, and you're done.
EMP from Ally. Oh, and that's a big shatter on the back of that one. EMP into Earth Shatter, and that's a
They need to fix the support ults.
clean team fight win for Toronto.
Either fixes the support ults, or Godspeed letting know, you know,
they don't have time to wait.
I'm gonna counter.
Now, without that self-injury, but look at that. You aren't that sneaky. We talked a lot. Toronto and the
So that's a 2-0. Now, let's see, we can do Volskaya.
nothing out of the ordinary for these two teams. Going to that 3-3 with the Reinhardt. Toronto Defiant turning around though, deciding to review.
They're holding surprisingly far up.
Reverse.
it's very easy to split off enemies with this. Okay, so when you're playing Rheingoats, normally you play for these corners here, or the high ground, or garage, like the other corner, because you can create these chokes. This is way too easy to split off. You see? How are you gonna support your Reinhardt? Can't deal any damage. You have no ult charge going on. Sure, you get some energy, but you risk dying in the same process, and your Reinhardt can't swing. Reinhardt is 20% off behind Gujoy is 20% behind Yakpung. Yakpung dies, Stellar dies. That's just good fighting afterwards. That's a good engage. That's really good, actually. So good.
Barely makes it, but that's a lot of health that needs healing before the Toronto Defiant can really get onto the point.
Yeah, Yakpung nearly died. The Discord Orb, Yakpung their combo.
They tried to set up for their Zen here.
The Discord Orb, Yakpung again low. They're focusing Yakpung very hard now.
Wow, and that pulls out the Transcendence from Neko. That is not an ult you want to use in that situation because now...
So because Trans is gone, they can grab for free.
You know he's waiting to use that grab. He's not even gonna need...
They don't even need grab now. They could use it if they want to. They don't need to. Now they have to, because Gujoy is dead.
Now Toronto, nothing to really stop this. Yeah, it's an easy Trans.
Offensively done. One out.
They're gonna have to find a way to work through this. Sorry, shield down. Oh, it got eaten!
Oof, nice eat. And I think Roki went for the boop there, but Yakpung didn't go for the shatter. Oh, he's super late on the shatter. He's so late on the shatter. I think they have communication issues still in Defiant. They get shoved in. No ults. Why is Bebe using Trance here? Oh, it's because Buzzy is dead. Bebe needs to chill. Yeah, Buzzy dies and Rhea DMAC. It's probably delays in communication. So they're probably like reacting like in the very last second, or like tunnel visioning. I think it's tunnel visioning, probably, you know, you try to focus super hard and you end up focusing too much on one thing. And then you realize, oh, I got a trance, and then you press trance, but you forget. In the moment I press trance, and as the animation comes out, my diva is gonna get debacked.
Yeah, if the execution is tight, they could potentially get some time in on point B. See, Ivy down to half health, has to pop that shield early. Rhea in trouble. Has to back away. Grab got eaten though. Rhea.
Oof. Ivy.
Turned around. Wow, Ivy thought he had a chance.
He needs to fix his grabs.
The point, but the last second Rhea turns, does a 180, sticks out the defense matrix. That was great. Meanwhile, Spark throws in their own grab.
Now they find. Ooh, two with the charge. Nice.
Want to be able to very close, throw him into a wall.
It did, to his credit, it did look like Rhea was pretty far away, but just turned around, was barely in range. Pretty sick. Now Defiant trying to come back in again. Still a few ultimates to use, but Spark easily equal in that category. Yakpung in trouble.
They try finding Shatter grab combo because they used no Shatter bomb combo because they used grab last fight. Then yeah, couldn't block, unfortunately. I think this is Gujoy being... He probably doesn't have as much experience on Ryan as Yakpung. He hasn't been good at blocking shatters, but just blocking boops, etc. He's so much better on Winston though. So it looks like it will be Defiant cleaning this up over time. Coming in, doesn't have a lot of healing with just that Zenyatta's Harmony Orb. That's a problem. Not even gonna be able to get there. Toronto Defiant setting a pretty solid time here on Volskaya.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great for Defiant, but it Was a really
So I feel like Spark, you know, they played No Smite on Reinhardt before, and because they lost some maps with No Smite, they might be going for Goujouet instead of No Smites when they play Rheingoats, because of results, you know, we win with the Goujouet, so why shouldn't we play Goujouet? But then they, you know, if they do that, they ruin the practice with No Smite, because now you have to get used to playing with Goujouet, and he has to get used to play with the team on Reinhardt. I don't know internally what's going on, but it's sort of like the Valiant situation with Cookie and Costa. Not to the same extent at all. But you know, you have players who have different roles, and it could be because they have better communication, better teamwork, etc. But for example, if you take Seoul Dynasty, you have Fissure and Marvel. Both players play Reinhardt. I think Marvel is a Rein main, right? Anyways, it doesn't matter in this review. I assume he's a Rein main. It's two different styles instead of two different roles, if that makes sense.
If you seal that building, if you close the door, it might get kind of toasty in there. You never know, all right? Conditioning.
In that situation, you don't get the big difference, but here you probably do.
I guess, you know, with only 2 minutes and 13 seconds, it isn't the world's fastest put up by the Defiant. You can see also other...
So they're holding close.
Okay, so while they do that, the big doing that, they will lock in a spot in the stage playoffs. So this is a big map for Toronto.
They're opting into a Winston 3-3 here. Normally...
And they played Winston here. I think it's good.
Really wanting to play Winston versus Winston from...
And that's because Goujouet is more experienced on Winston.
All right, well, I mean, he's certainly known a little bit more for it.
They overlap Bubble with Bubbles though, like Zara Bubble. So they, like, I think Hangzhou, they have the right idea in mind, but they need to be more efficient with the Bubbles and Winston Bubble. Bebe dying, he's off position, he shouldn't even be there. What is Bebe doing? I don't know. You can shoot the same amount of people. Well, you can shoot exactly the same people from here. And then you can rotate around the corner. I don't know. I think this is just bad positioning. Maybe too much tunnel vision. You know, focusing too much on fragging out.
The point far in all Hangzhou and twice.
Really well in this.
So he is quietly having a very good day.
He and Envy are doing really well in this match. Here's the self-destruct.
That's a good engage. Because Goujouet, he used his jump, then they used their jump and bomb to engage with. That's really good.
Since have primal rage available to them.
2 minutes remaining now for Spark, a little bit less, 140 actually on the clock right now. They've got 6 ultimates. Now or never. Gotta get point A taken. They're going in for the grab, but it's team by Envy. He was ready for Godspeed's Graviton Surge, and now Toronto throws their own grab in there. Transcendence comes out.
That's a good counter bomb. Unfortunately, went too far in.
Not finding any kills. It's gonna be primal rage now for Yakpung. Stellar down. It's gonna be close.
Yeah, they cap point.
Just run push the Reinhardt off the point. We almost never see teams.
So both switch to Reinhardt.
Hangzhou did have to use up nearly all their ultimates here. They've got another 420 on the clock here, but they've had to use a lot to get there. So the momentum a little bit less than usual. So Bezzy, yeah, not gonna make it out of there. Yeah, now you just save the grab. Yep.
Yeah.
Impressed with how fast the Defiant are.
So let's see, what was the issue?
Hangzhou did have to use up nearly all their ultimates here. They've got another 420 on the
They
clock
use
here,
bubbles.
they've had to use a lot to get there.
They need to speed out once rally's out. Ah, Bazzi is too far up again. It's 100% bad positioning. Bad positioning. Not by Bazzi only, like the team in general. Team positioning.
Defiant are adapting their way out. They lose a fight. But this time around, you know, we also saw they lose Yakpung once, and then all of a sudden, plays.
Yeah, true enough. More Roki now. To get back to the point, looks like they're going to go ahead and take the moving platform, and Roki setting himself up for perhaps.
And knows what they're trying to do.
Oh yeah, now everybody's on board. All right.
No.
Moving out.
Okay, so they do this. I don't know why. They don't have to do this, because if you get booped here, everything is ruined. This is because they don't know how to position. You know, they don't know how to push out the choke. They don't know where to place the break so that Lucio can't go in for stuns. They don't know how to separate Reinhardt with their diva, for example, use boops, etc. They don't know where to position their Zen so he doesn't get picked off or dies. And obviously you can't blame them if they simply don't have the knowledge. But this is most likely just a on-the-fly attempt at trying to solve, you know, the issue with not knowing how to break in. There's the boop. You see how risky this is.
Still gonna be on the high ground though. They will have an option to wrap around the flank here.
They drop down to the low ground actually, so they come up the stairs. Trying to use some of that angle to avoid some of the fire from Toronto Defiant.
Trying to use a corner actively.
Rally time. And be on the top, just free firing.
See? You just get grabbed for free.
Going in with that self-destruct and they get rid of the right shield. There's a charge. They've done it. The 4K from Yak.
Even though they get, like, they can get to any choke they want to, but they don't know how to break the chokes.
Set it up and that's a good one. But yeah,
Like, that's the problem. The issue is not getting to the choke, it's breaking them.
Wow, that's a great combo. Absolutely. A couple of Yak. Here we go again.
All right.
Didn't get tired of it the first time.
It's like a clown car of a platform. I can't believe they fit so many people on there and they're going to knock a couple off. Okay. On the high ground, that's the
What do you do now?
attack again. I mean, you know exactly
What do you do?
But the combo not there for Toronto this time around. They're going back to the health pack room. Okay.
They use speed. So now, because they have used speed, they can't win. They need to wait for speed to come back up, and they gotta use bubbles reactively.
Echo down, that's a big pick for Rhea. Spark with a chance at a 65. Again, aggressive Yakpun tries to respond with a shatter, but Stellar already down. Spark have found themselves a fight that they can win.
Nice kills.
A chance to take point B here and just have to handle these respawns cleanly.
I'll take your question in a second, Ken. Con. Just gonna see this fight.
Alright, there's the grab. As you can see, Toronto just trying to delay as long as they possibly can. Neko's trying to keep people up with the Transcendence as he comes back in. NB did get the kill onto Rhea. During that self-destruct. 2 ticks taken already. Now the grab for Toronto. It's going to cause Bebe to pop his own Transcendence. Yakpun swinging through there.
Yeah, it's too much chaos. They have no control of the fights.
The charge from Yakpun.
You see, they have no control of the fights, and this is most likely because they simply don't have the, how to say, a Rhyme player play Rhyme, for example.
Oh, he's in the corner. It's brutal. There goes Yakpun and Ivy. A lot of damage, but not a lot
Not only that, but
of HP remaining, and I think that's gonna be
it feels like they don't know the positions.
finish this one off.
Eventually.
Goodbye, Roki. Goodbye, Stellar. Good night, Moon. And that's it. Spark. Managed to time.
Okay, so the cap. Let's see your questions. Question. Do you think if Ellie Valiant wanted to go full Korean, they'd trade Choyobin for space with Shock? I don't think Shock are gonna trade the Choyobin though. I think it's a very small chance they will.
Defiant has a lot more.
So the trades work if, how to say, you can offer a player for someone else, but if they don't want that player or like, etc. Yeah, they won't.
And the Hangzhou Spark do 2:23 on the clock, just a minute for Spark, and remember, Toronto.
How are you doing, Goderics?
And if they win the series in general,
Serve to you for this team, but they have coalesced.
Is there any small things that Guju does that are unique to him? Not that I've noticed so far.
they're necessary. Coalesce.
I would probably try to spectate his POV. I haven't recorded any POV though of Gujway.
Inside them, though.
That's right. It was in their hearts the entire time.
All right, so again, nothing too crazy.
So if they lose this map, or if they tie, Toronto Defiant automatically wins because they're 2-0.
Just the Winston. Really want to go for this Winston play. That's where they're feeling confident. Not sure I agree with Doa and Rhea. Really.
Okay, so you see, Gujway, he goes in, bubble,
Really want to go for this Winston play. That's
Rhea comes in, gets stunned. They have no bubble.
where they're feeling confident. Not sure I agree with Doa and Rhea.
He went up there to try to help out Gushway.
Is Titan's Goats not the best anymore, or did Hunters just have a good game?
They're gonna be down to just
I think Hunters did their homework and they figured out how to counter Bumper.
There we go. All right.
and it took some time for... I don't think Vancouver expected that, so they like sort of made a plan on how to counter their strat while the match was happening.
Otherwise, they're going to put Toronto in a situation where they only need a tick to take the map.
Do you have any reasoning why they would not trade Choi? Well, he's the best player, he's the best diva in the team for Shock, and he's been in almost every match. Like, why would you trade away your best diva? Because of Space, like you have to relearn how to play with Space, for example. There's no need to, like, no reason to. Why would Shock want Space, for example? Space is a good player, but why would they want him?
Toronto Defiant dropping back to the point. They don't want to give up any time at all to Spark.
Slow push in right now, Yakpung. The later bubble, right. Zarya.
And real with trouble. That's going to be Baby with
So they engage with Trans.
They gotta keep...
Ivy, he just grabs here. They don't have any support ult.
That is it. Toronto in a situation where they only need it. Coming in aggressively, they drop the shield up on top here. Toronto Defiant
Godspeed uses his bubble again.
dropping back to the point.
Just, oh well, it's fine.
Slow push in right now, Yakpung. The later bubble, right. Zarya.
I don't think they should trans like this.
And real with trouble. That's going to be Baby with the transcendence.
And they gotta focus on Ivy, otherwise trances are useless.
They get aggressive still, they gotta keep alive. Crowd comes in though. On the Toronto side, Godspeed down. That is it. Spark cannot do it.
Can you give our, us your thoughts on London struggles?
That's true. That's a draw.
It's minimum a draw right now, so congrats Toronto fans.
Oh, sorry, Pharaoh. I'm gonna take it soon. London struggles. I talked about it in Oversight. I think they just don't know how to play goats and they try to win with mechanics and cheese instead. Is it hard? It's hard to put my finger on Yakpung's playstyle. From reviewing this, what do you think of him? I think he's average on Reinhardt. He's not special. He's not bad. I think he's just. I don't think he's doing anything special. It's not like too aggressive, too passive, etc. Toronto, they're winning with ult combos rather, you know, than Yakpung going like bumper mode. It's more like Hangzhou, you saw last fight. They use trans to push in. Ivy stays alive. He uses Grav, and that's how they win a team fight. They make a lot of bad mistakes, bad choices, I mean, decisions with the support ults. And then sometimes bad positions. And that's, you know, where Yakpung just goes in and shatters.
This map, the worst for Toronto, is going to be a draw, but they'd love to get that win.
Make it easier for them coming out with the Winston right now into the Reinhardt.
So technically, he doesn't need to do anything special.
Hey, like I said, it's a victory lap for them from now on here.
Making it this really difficult on themselves. Trying to run that Winston and actually get onto the point is super difficult.
He's going to go sky high for a second. They've got Spark pushed back into the health pack, which is generally...
I think he might be a Winston main though. So that's probably why. I get that feeling. You wouldn't run Winston here on attack. They probably run Winston because they expect a Winston on defense. He gets blown up though. Like, that's what happens. You simply can't go into the garage and then... How can you make space? Can't. So it goes for Reinhardt instead. Maybe it's not a Winston main. I haven't watched much Yakpung, so I don't know. But like his backstory.
Maybe finding one there, so Toronto gonna find it much time if you're Spark, really. Yeah, they're gonna find it much.
Okay, so let's see. Envy just gets melted from Godspeed. Yakpung should be shielding that. 100% shielding that. Stellar could be shielding that as well. He goes back to shield, too late. Okay, so Mech is dead.
Maybe finding one there, so Toronto gonna find it much tougher to push. It's just that mini diva. You can just jump on that anytime if you're...
Ivy gets booped off. He tries to run back. And he gets stunned, killed. Everyone just dying one by one.
They have decided that at this point in time, and now they're at one push here.
Well, you don't drive real hard on a victory. You're already a winner. Godspeed with the grab here. Good setup in the T5 win for Spark. They've got a ton of ultimates available way ahead of Toronto in the alt economy.
Yeah, you only have 10 seconds to poke before you have to get on that point.
Yeah, gotta do it. Here we go.
Again, he gets booped off again and tries to run back.
Rally. Oh, goodbye, Ivy. Again.
He gets booped off so easily.
Yeah, well.
Grab comes out.
5 in favor of Spark. Self-destruct comes in. They got the sound barrier. They're protected. Rhea drops his now. There goes Bezzy. Yakpunk down.
Gushwei dies.
Bezzy to death. And it looks like Spark
For the defense. And if
it's like
that decision.
So yeah, the moment Spark didn't cap second point there, or like cap one tick at least. Yeah, they lost. They lost here. I'm not gonna review the next one since it's you know, already know Toronto has lost here, and it's also 12 a.m. for me. What trades? I can take some questions instead, like Q&A. You know, talk about Valiant. We can talk about stage 2. We can talk about stage finals. What trades do you expect Valiant will make when the trade period begins? It depends on who is the head coach. Depends on the budget, how much they want to spend. I don't think they should make any trades. Well, maybe they should. It depends. I have no idea. Like, you don't have to make trades because you have all the pieces you need. Well, you need some stronger DPS players, but if they should rebuild completely, I think they should make a core that fits with the new playstyle. Who other than NY or Vancouver can win playoffs? I think Shock and Atlanta can do it. Earlier talked about breaking chokes. What could Spark have done better to break those chokes? Let me take the example I brought up. Let's see, it was on second point when they attacked. So let's see.
To re-engage you makes it very difficult and then swap to win.
420 on the Hangzhou did
Okay, so now they drop. Godspeed is high on HP. Energy, I mean.
really all their ultimates here. They've got
And you see, Yakpong, he gets bubbled. Now, you can't engage unless you're ready to use your own bubbles. You need to play safe here. You can't break this choke unless you pop your own bubble and hard engage.
another
So they hard engage, you bubble,
20 on the clock.
you need to disengage. You don't go back in unless you have speed or, you know, something.
Here, but
So your bubble is gone, they disengage.
they've had to
Now you need to prepare to disengage yourself because you don't have any speed or bubbles. They will have bubbles before you do.
use a lot to get there.
However, Buzzy here, he's out of position because he can get stunned here. Who can help him? Because you have no bubbles anymore. Stellar, he uses rally and he's gonna come from the side and stun.
The momentum a little
He's stunned, he gets discorded
bit less than usual.
and deleted. There's the deletion. Now, suddenly it's a 6v5. You need to like push and pull based on the bubbles and speed. For example,
Use up
if
nearly
we take this scenario,
ultimates here. They've got another
let's say that they use bubbles. You don't need to stand with your Reinhardt here. Your Reinhardt, he can move back as well. He's, you know, you take the keyboard key, you press S, and then fall back. Then what you can do is, well, you can use bubbles, sure, why not? Sure. You can use rally then to force them to speed. So they have to disengage because you can speed. Also, you need to keep your brig here on the left side, because then you can rally and stun from the side. Usually he can farm, you know, can do a lot of things. IDK, he needs to challenge Roki. That's for sure. And then you can have Rhea here. Be ready to engage and boop. For example, Yakpung to the side or whatever, you know. Let's take a different choke. Here. Let's see, this is before. Let's see, after they do the... Now the cap here.
Right now, some of them...
Try it again. All right.
So let's take the first time when they use this platform.
Up around the flank here.
Okay.
They drop down to low ground.
So now you have speed. They have speed as well. As Gujue, you can't fall back now. You need to hold the ground here. What you can do, for example, is use rally, start move up, see if they use bubbles, and then if they use bubbles, you disengage. Then you hard engage right after. You need to like push and pull.
Trying to use some of that angle.
They use self bubble.
Avoid some of the fire from Toronto Defiant.
Trying to use a corner active.
Now use your own bubble and rally, but you don't hard engage. You see the teammates IDK here. Oh, not IDK. I mean Bazi. He falls back with rally, like he's playing too far back. Gujue, he's left out to dry, and there's a free grab from the Zarya. This is not breaking the choke. You're standing in the choke. So essentially, you'd recommend just pushing and pulling until you have a resources advantage and can create positional mistake in the enemy team. Yeah, you can do that. For example, if you see that they have bubbles, but let's say that your Lucio, let's say that your Lucio IDK, for some reason, he's up here, you know? If he can boop Yakpung, that's also a moment where you can engage. But it's very common now that Lucius are being blocked by, for example, enemy Lucio ready to boop away. They have Break ready to stun and flail. And for that reason, IDK can't go in and stun. So yeah, it depends on the situation and what opportunities you have, but here they forced the opportunity, but then they split off, so Gujue is left to dry. And what is Rhea doing here? He can't see the Zarya, and you ruin your own engages. So it's, yeah, they don't know how to break the choke. Who has the best chance of beating NYXL / Vancouver in a final? I think that's Shock. Shock.
Reinhardt 3-3 with a Winston 3-3. So this is really demonstrative. Thank you, Toronto.
It's a good 3-3 study match. If you want to.
I'll try for boop.
It's a 3-3 clinic from the Toronto.
Now they're playing pretty nice here. You have the ult advantages. They didn't get boops. It's totally fine. They're gonna try and hold the corner here. Rhea on high ground, making sure that they don't drop.
Truly, the Toronto Defiant, the veterinarians providing the goat clinic.
That's right. Goat clinic was named by punk band in high school. What a coincidence there. Can't believe that happened. Hangzhou Spark.
So, because they went high ground here, they switched places.
Defiant coming down, trying to get this payload moving a bit.
It's way harder for Toronto to engage here, and all Spark has to do is contest cart, right?
Still up there, though. It's not going to give any of that high ground away if you can avoid it. Fighting it out, maybe they're going to try to charge in on this. No, going through the building.
That's a good pin.
The Diva went. Maybe they're going to try to charge in.
So let's see. Rhea doesn't see it. So what Spark tried to do is bubble onto Gujue. He takes the pin, but yeah, just unfortunate Rhea was receiving it instead.
Diva went in pretty deep. Yeah, Rhea gets deep back as he falls as well.
Yeah, pin full red.
Kills. They're taking Reinhardt, thing like that. But, you know, it's what you.
Yes, the worst version of mythology.
Not gonna argue. Payload's nearly to the end of point A already for Toronto Defiant.
Let's see.
Maybe looking for a good place to put that grab, perhaps.
Grab bomb combo, they try to counter with a shatter. Trances. That's so close. His bubble dies just before the explosion. And I think they learned from the mistake where they used trance and beat. They don't want to overlap. They want to try and win with a beat. Gushwei ends up going off the map because of pin. Yeah, Roki's boop was insane.
Really take a defense on the best corner, I think, in any Overwatch League map, which is this corner on the high ground on Rialto. It is so hard to break.
And just like the casters say, this corner is insanely hard to break because if you go inside, it's a very narrow doorway. It's very easy to just grab. You can block damage with bubbles. If you go low ground, it's very easy to drop down.
Yes. I know it well.
It's your favorite opera.
Right. That's right up there. I like it. Do the underpass. Now you gotta break the corner. Gonna be the grab. They're going for it.
Hey dude, I submitted a VOD for PS4 Widow in Plat like 3 months ago. I have now moved over to PC and learned mechanics, etc. And I'm Diamond. First of all, congrats on Diamond. Also, I'm trying to get better at editing. Could you give me some feedback? Totally fine if you don't want to. Stream very good, by the way. I'll send a link if you say it's fine. You mean like editing your like montage and stuff?
Now you gotta break the corner. Gonna be the grab. They're going for it. They're not waiting.
So they get grabbed here. I think they dropped too early. So if you look here, Hangzhou, they have the grab, and the cart can roll around up to this point, right? Because if cart is placed on the cross here, and they win the fight, it's gonna start rolling back. Because Toronto is gonna respawn and all, you know. And I think they dropped too early. And they missed the grab chance. Like, now they give away the power of the high ground.
Now you gotta break the corner. Gonna be the grab. They're going for it. They're not wasting any time here. Goodbye, Messi.
Tips on editing your montage. I wish I could, man. I wish I could. I don't have any tips though, but you can post it in my Discord and ask you can ask for feedback from people in my Discord. I'm pretty sure there's some people who knows how to edit. So the contest at the last, this is a weird angle. So the contest at the last second. Oh wow. Wow. So IDK boops. Now IDK couldn't have known this. With Gushwei, he gets stuck, he gets sucked in, and then that cancels his shatter. Man, he went for the shatter because he thought Yakpung wouldn't get booped. That's unfortunate.
That's true. Payload. Come on, man. You know, it's like a good point. Strong wood. Making that great. Go. Another grab coming in from Trump. Strong.
Gunfight around that.
So because Cart turned this corner, they need to wait now. Since their supports are gonna have equal, well, both teams have equal, not equal, but they have similar chances of support, good support positioning. You can't really go for good boops either, but they can.
Strong wood. That great.
Ivy goes for grab. Like this type of a grab shouldn't be allowed to happen. Rhea is not eating anything here. That's a nice grab. How do I join your Discord? I'll provide you a link here. Here you go.
took out the sound barrier on the Toronto Defiant side as well to keep everybody up and happy. And yeah, really does not get much faster on Rialto than this has been.
You know,
It was a good grab because it didn't reach the enemies, but yeah, Bebe dies and then they lose damage.
long shot for them to
Sound barrier,
losing a few more maps is not going to help their efforts.
I don't think so. Sound barrier doesn't matter.
And unfortunately, they can't touch.
Played.
My favorite thing.
This is the most embarrassing part. Wow. You know, you've even been to Italy. I think this is the most embarrassing
So, Spark, they're doing
part of this entire
mistakes by like dropping down from that stairs, and since they dropped down from the stairs there, they got snowballed after because well, not snowball, but I think add the boop and then canceling the shadow on Gushway, that basically ruins the win conditions. Would you be in favor of a ban system where a team gets a protected hero and a banned hero? Or are there not enough heroes in the game to warrant this? I'm not a game designer, so I'm not gonna have the best opinion on this. I don't think I'm qualified to give, you know, the best opinion on it. But to answer your question, I would be against it because I don't think it's necessary. I think it's more of a band-aid to a greater problem. And I don't think it's gonna do much more, you know, it adds depth, of course, but I don't think it's necessary. Because it goes against what Blizzard design philosophy is. And it's gonna be, I don't know. I haven't thought about it, so it's hard to say. I would say I'm against it, though. That's what my gut feeling says. It doesn't mean it's bad or good or anything. I just think it's not the right solution for, you know, some of the RNG elements or, you know, unfavored maps, etc. For example, Koth, it's a pretty unbalanced mode because of how important the first fight is. And for example, a protected hero, it's not gonna solve the high ground issue on second point Rialto here.
He's been able to land a lot of that damage. And he has not given opponents a lot of times.
So Toronto, they're doing a fine job here. Just setting up mini chokes here. Denying boops.
Take him out. Go.
IDK going for a boop here. But unfortunately, it's too much. Oh, Roki boops away IDK. And because he's booped, they can engage here on Buzzy. Buzzy has been caught off guard quite a lot in this matchup.
Now Bebe feels the world rather, closing it around to be soft. Envy on the deep. Defiant holding here a little bit longer.
7 for the Defiant. So Rialto.
Great sign for Ivy though too, because he did have some issues. Start playing most seriously, but you want to see less deaths on the Zarya for sure.
Certainly delivering on that front so far. By just backing up. They're making the Hangzhou Spark try and walk across the space.
Ivy, boosting way up.
He's looking for a grab here.
Trying to place to put that grab. Waiting for the defense matrix. There it is.
There it is.
Down, double defense matrix. And nice shatter. Oop, no kills on his self-destruct there, aside from the one under Rhea as he let loose his self-destruct.
Right, so no remake possible for Rhea. This is going to be another back off here from the Hangzhou Spark. And he's closing in on that record, Noah.
Sure is, man. Only a minute 40.
Yada. Hero that can be jumped on quite easily, but has been mostly...
They're pretty equal here.
I'm gonna say, for a record like that to be set, I would not have expected that to be on the...
What do you mean, Minion?
Jonak has it right now.
Oh, well, never mind that. But Jonak is not...
Oh, you mean here?
Jonak.
Oh, they ruined my hotel.
Jonak is Jonak.
You see, my PC is gone.
Yeah. It's basically like an Overwatch deity in himself.
All right, so back...
So they push out high ground here, so it forces Toronto to fall back.
Here for the Defiance. Stopping the payload, stopping any progress right now. Rally comes in from the Spark.
All right, here's where Toronto needs to dig deep.
Shatter, no, I mean Stellar comes in from behind her. That's a good kill. And a nice Shatter.
There goes Stellar as well. Try to delay as long as what we want.
Point A.
So they kept the point.
Giving up ground easily, however.
And if Toronto kills them now, it's totally fine. You know, you don't lose anything. I think Bebe shouldn't use trans here. You don't want to use trans.
Defiant not giving up ground easily, however. They want to try to hold the bridge.
He reacts too slowly with trans. He has always done this in the matchup between these two, like today. And now you have no support ults. You have a grav, but they have trans, they have grav, you have no trans or beat. And because he uses these support ults so liberally, it ruins the counters for grav, and you basically throw away a minute because you gotta take 2 fights. One where you die and one where you can win or can lose. Totally fine. Use grab bomb. That's a weird grab. It's a weird angle. Good bomb though. Good pin as well.
He can tie the record, but
I don't like that angle. I think that angle is meant for the top down, but yeah, I get motion sick from like it's weird in Overwatch. Anyways, doesn't matter. Is 23% crit accuracy on Widow fine? Oh, I think it's good. Anything above 20% is good. It depends on which rank and all, but in general, above 20% is good.
This is arguably the hardest corner to take. It's a 90-degree turn.
So your IDK setting up for boop here. And because they have no grav, they gotta fall back. Nice chatter. And just to show you,
another couple kills coming in. Toronto Defiant in trouble again. Neko did not die.
I think they could have taken a new fight.
He's a respawn with the rest of the team, but they're not going to be able to defend this. So Spark methodically pushing through the map right now.
Maybe.
Spark have avoided that full hold just narrowly. Now Defiant trying to prevent themselves from going into a time bank.
Yeah, now they're building grab on Ivy. Godspeed needs grab as well before they engage. And they just, you know, play to gain areas. For example, Lucio, he tries to gain the window here so he can boop. Envy, he pushes him off. Roki can't set up for boops yet. This is dangerous because when they push out here, it's so easy to grab. Like you can grab on this on the side here even.
Yeah, charging up there with that speed boost. He got a little bit low. They backed off though. Ivy has that.
Just like you grab on the pillar, you're asking to be grabbed. Or asking, I mean.
And some shielding helping out quite a bit there.
Couldn't quite knock it in enough, and now the graviton coming through.
Yeah, that's right, Rhea. But the self-destruct a little bit late.
Oof. I don't think Yakpung noticed the bomb there.
Down as well, though. So in the end, Toronto Defiant getting a couple kills more. Godspeed trying to respond. And Kushui, he's got the shield still on the point. Echo fighting it out. No! Spark. No! Yeah, that's right.
Wait, they won it? Oh yeah.
Toronto Defiant getting a couple kills more. Godspeed trying to respond. And
Kushui comes back. Then they come and kill up. They kill the rest. I mean, clean up.
Echo, no! Oh, it's too late now. It doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, that's right. It's one of those Eye of the Kaiser scenarios. A little bit less of a...
So let's see what happens. This is a good angle. This is such a good angle for the fight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, alright? Oh, he gets pinned against the wall. The Yakpung bounced off the pillar himself. There he goes.
Yakpung dies. Big shatter. Ooh.
It doesn't matter because he's getting the kills anyway. They get the grab at the end. And guys, we're going to go into time bank.
They played as well.
Alright, well, win the series.
Okay, so Spark, they only have one fight.
swap over to the Reinhardt.
Okay, so IDK goes to this. How does he die?
IDK.
Oh, he must have choked.
What?
He misses a wall jump and dies.
What just happened there?
What did just happen there,
What?
Noah?
He didn't get knocked off. He just died. I am curious.
Living up to his name.
Oh, okay, they showed the replay. Okay, nice.
I don't know what happened to IDK. But it did slow the Hangzhou Sparks approach right now.
Well, they have 30 seconds remaining. IDK back with them again. All right,
We're going to find out the mystery of IDK is about to reveal itself before our eyes.
And he...
Yeah, he misses. I think it's just nerves. This has been plaguing the team for so many matches. They end up doing these like mistakes that are, you know, very, very novice mistakes. And it's very common. For example, you like freeze up. It's such a big pressure that you freeze up. I'm not sure if that's the case, but it looks like it because it happens in many other games as well, you know, outside of gaming as well. It's like you freeze up because, or like you get so tense you can't really move, or it feels like you can't move. Or you can't press the right buttons, but you in your head you know what buttons to press, and you like consciously know, but they just don't come out.
Oh, you missed the killer. You hate to see it.
Lucio
It happens.
You know, I play a lot of Lucio. It'd be like that sometimes. That's how it is. All right, well, Spark trying to get any distance they can. 3 seconds. Going to be into overtime very shortly. Bebe's going to have the Transcendence soon, but aside from that, not much. Charge, Shockpunk.
Oh, that's a nice charge.
Everybody has to try to save the Reinhardt.
Pushway gets saved.
The wrong Reinhardt was killed, according
That's a good trance.
Toronto Defiant here. They are going to struggle to
Think the Defiant into his team, Yakpung, but with the Transcendent. Here we go. Self-destruct. Godspeed clearly with that grab.
All you have to do is get them off the payload. The overtime bars can expire so fast. There we go.
He wanted to take Pushway back into his team.
Yep.
Defiant. Rhea has a self-destruct.
Okay, so as the engage here, this is when Rhea should bomb, in my opinion.
Godspeed.
I think they're waiting on the grab too long. And because they're waiting, they get grabbed themselves.
All you have to do is get them off the payload.
They need to grab earlier and bomb earlier as well. Rhea is waiting. Now it's too late. Now the damage comes in.
The overtime bars can expire so fast.
They don't have the support ults, so they can't do anything, right? They need to do it earlier.
There we go. Yakpong on the back of that Graviton Surge. Getting quite a few. They lose Ivy.
And I think they had a plan. They had a solid plan. They want to grab bomb. And maybe because of like tunnel vision from the pressure and choking, etc. They didn't react in time.
Spark. Keep in mind here, Toronto Defiant have 4 minutes to try to push as far as Spark did. So,
And they're not playing Winston this time.
okay, double sniper for Toronto Defiant.
To win this map, considering they drew the third one.
Yeah, very true.
Lucio, a battle of Lucius here. They find him. This is a good play by Envy and Rookie.
Down again. There goes Bezzy. So Toronto wasting no. Hard to stream. Play some tunes.
So because IDK died, he took the fight and reset. They can't really get away because enemies have the speed.
Nice.
And there's no way.
Just not close to the price.
Alright, so coming back in for another defense here.
Ivy on high ground.
Here we go. One last try.
Trying to boop him off.
For 3 minutes here.
Yep. See if they can do it. Here we go. Pushing in now. They've got the shield onto Envy. Tries to build up a little bit more charge. Ultimate's building. Neko very close to his Transcendence. That payload is pretty much there. Can Spark stop them? Defiant just waiting it out. They can just keep poking. Ooh, going forward. Yakpunk gets stunned, but it's going to be Yushe. That falls. Looks like Neko got his Transcendence just in the nick of time to try to save people. Bebe responds with his as well. Self-destruct coming down.
That's a nice bomb.
Gets 2 from behind.
Yeah, it's so tricky. Like, if you stay in the back, you're gonna lose point. But if you don't shield your back, you're gonna die to bomb. If you shield your back, you're gonna take damage from, yeah, main.
IDK taking out the fire strike.
They basically checkmated Spark.
In the end of the series, Toronto Defiant takes it on
And I think Spark, I think they realized, well, I hope they realized the position errors. It was well played by Defiant. Like, they do really good with their ultimates and all. They have good positions as well. And was some errors where like you saw it was communication errors, like being too early with something, etc. But Hangzhou had the same, plus like missing knowledge, I think. So yeah, that was Hangzhou versus Toronto.